Hello, everyone. Today we'll cover an entire lesson on exponents in a simple way, all in under 8 minutes. Let's get straight to it. The exponent represents the number of times the base is multiplied by itself. For example, in y raised to the power of m, y is the base, and m is the exponent. X raised to the power of n means multiplying x by itself n times. However, as a mathematical fact, any number to the power of 0 is 1. X raised to the power of 5 means multiplying x by itself 5 times. Xy raised to the power of 4 means multiplying xy by itself 4 times. Now, let's look at some examples. 5 raised to the power of 3 is equal to 5 multiplied by itself 3 times, meaning 5 times 5 times 5, which equals 125. 2 times 5 squared means multiplying 2 by 5 by itself 2 times, which results in 10 times 10, equaling 100. 2 raised to the power of 3 multiplied by 4 squared means multiplying 2 by itself 3 times and 4 by itself 2 times. Simplifying, that equals 8 times 16, which gives 128. We will work with 3 important properties of exponents. Property 1 states that x raised to the power of negative n is equal to 1 divided by x raised to the power of n. For example, x raised to the power of negative 3 is equal to 1 divided by x raised to the power of 3, meaning 1 divided by x times x times x. 2x raised to the power of negative 4 is equal to 1 divided by 2x raised to the power of 4, meaning 1 divided by 2 raised to the power of 4, multiplied by x raised to the power of 4, which is 1 divided by 16x raised to the power of 4. Now it's time to practice with some exercises. If you want, pause the video and solve these 3 exercises. Ready? Let's check the solutions. 4 raised to the power of negative 3 is equal to 1 over 4 cubed, which is 1 over 64. 6x raised to the power of negative 2 is equal to 1 over 6x squared, which is 1 over 36x squared. 2 times 5, or 10, raised to the power of negative 4 is equal to 1 over 10 to the 4th power, which is 1 over 10,000. Property 2 states that a raised to the power of n multiplied by a raised to the power of m is equal to a raised to the power of n plus m. Similarly, a raised to the power of n multiplied by a raised to the power of negative m is equal to a raised to the power of n minus m. Let's look at some examples. X raised to the power of 4 multiplied by x raised to the power of 2 is equal to x raised to the power of 4 plus 2, or x raised to the power of 6. To calculate x times y raised to the power of 5 multiplied by x times y raised to the power of 4, the exponent of x is 1 plus 1, and the exponent of y is 5 plus 4. The result is x squared times y raised to the power of 9. To obtain x raised to the power of 3 times y squared multiplied by x raised to the power of negative 5 times y raised to the power of negative 6, the exponent of x is 3 minus 5, and the exponent of y is 2 minus 6. The result is x raised to the power of negative 2 times y raised to the power of negative 4, or 1 over x squared times y to the power of 4. In 3 raised to the power of 3 times 5 raised to the power of negative 2 multiplied by 3 raised to the power of 4 times 5 raised to negative 4, the exponent of 3 is 3 plus 4, and the exponent of 5 is negative 2 minus 4. The result is 3 raised to the power of 7 times 5 raised to the power of negative 6, or 3 raised to the power of 7 divided by 5 raised to the power of 6. Property 3 states that a raised to the power of m raised to the power of n is equal to a raised to the power of m times n. For example, x raised to the power of 4 raised to the power of 5 is equal to x raised to the power of 20. For x times y squared raised to the 8th power, the exponent of x is 1 times 8, and the exponent of y is 2 times 8. The result is x raised to the 8th power times y to the power of 16. Now, x raised to the power of negative 7 raised to the power of 3 is equal to x raised to the power of negative 21. For x to the power of negative 5, multiplied by y raised to the power of 5, raised to the power of 5, the exponent of x is negative 5 times 5, and the exponent of y is 5 times 5. The result is x to the power of negative 25 times y to the power of 25. Finally, let's look at some exercises with exponents in fractions. We have some interesting properties. A raised to the power of n divided by b raised to the power of m is equal to a raised to the power of n times b raised to the power of negative m. A raised to the power of n divided by a raised to the power of m is equal to a raised to the power of n minus m. When we have a negative exponent in the numerator and a negative exponent in the denominator, we can flip the fraction and make the exponents positive. So in this example, the result is x raised to the power of 17 minus 6, or x raised to the power of 11. 3 raised to the power of 5 divided by 3 raised to the power of 20 is simply 3 raised to the power of 5 minus 20, or 1 divided by 3 raised to the power of 15. For x raised to the power of 3 times y raised to the power of 5, all raised to the power of 3, the exponent of x is 9, and the exponent of y in the denominator is 15. For x times y cubed, divided by z raised to the power of negative 4, all raised to the power of negative 2, the exponent of x is negative 2, the exponent of y is negative 6, and the exponent of z in the denominator is 8. The result is 1 divided by x squared times y raised to the power of 6 times z raised to the power of 8. Here's a summary of all the properties of exponents. You can take a screenshot and save it.